A big thank you goes out to Squarespace for sponsoring this week's video. Good morning, everybody. This morning I've come down to it's kind of like a peninsula. It's not far from where I live, and I was here yesterday, and I got a pretty good shot. But I thought, well, I'd come out again today and see if I can take the same composition as I did yesterday, except hopefully get better light. As far as the weather goes, it's clear as a bell. There isn't a cloud in the sky, so that's why I've decided to get up early this morning, because the light's only going to last maybe 20 minutes, half an hour, and then that'll be kind of the end of it. So that's the plan anyway. As far as hiking goes, it's about 100 steps. My kind of photography. All right. Wow, what an absolutely gorgeous morning. It's cold though. I think it went down to about 0, -1 last night, which is pretty cold for this time of year. Check out these arbutus trees. They're really something. They're all leaning over this way, so I guess the prevailing wind seems to come from this way. So for those of you that watch my channel on a regular basis, you're probably really surprised because I'm not photographing trees this week. I'm really conscious of the fact that lately I've been just photographing trees all the time, and as much as I love forests, there are other things to photograph. So I thought perhaps I should start doing maybe some grander landscapes, more than just the intimate stuff. And it's not because I feel that I have to. I just like to change things up a little bit now and then, so I'm not pigeonholed into the same subject over and over again. Just behind me here, this is called Craig Bay, and then Rathtrevor Beach is a very popular area for the tourists. I go running through there quite often. And behind the trees here is Mount Arrowsmith, which is just absolutely covered in snow right now. And then there's a lot of houses along the coastline here, as usual. Right, let's go and find this composition. This first photograph was one that I took the day before, and I was a little bit disappointed with the light because to the west it was clear, but to the east it was quite cloudy, so I wasn't getting that morning sun. In retrospect though, I actually quite like this light. It's a little bit more subdued and it seemed to fit the scene quite nicely, especially with the effect from the ND filter smoothing out that water. Now later in the video I do take another image with the sun in it, same composition more or less, and I'll put the two together and you guys can do a comparison and let me know which one you prefer. Incidentally, I put together a processing video for this image just to kind of show you how I combined two of the images to make one. If you're interested in that, be sure to check it out on my channel here. Once again, I'd like to thank Squarespace for sponsoring this week's video. If you're looking for a beautiful, professional looking website, then why not head over to squarespace.com. For example, if you're setting up a gallery of images, all you have to do is drag and drop your selection over to the page. Once you've dragged your images over, it's very easy to caption, sort, and even edit those images. Interested? Head over to squarespace.com for a free trial, and if you like what you find, use the code AdamGibbs for 10% off your first purchase. Okay, so that's where coming to a local area really helps. Because yesterday it was quite cloudy, and there are a few clouds in the sky today at the back there. I didn't see those earlier, but I thought the sun actually came up a little bit further to my right, and of course now I'm going to take these photographs and the sun is right in my shot, which is causing a few problems. So I didn't really predict that. So the light's beautiful in the foreground, but I'm shooting right into the sun, and it's pretty harsh. And I also wanted to smooth out that water again, which I don't know as if it's going to be possible. What I could do is, there are some clouds out there, so I'll just wait for the sun to go behind the cloud there. But of course by that time the light's going to be getting a little bit harsh. I'll try and blend some of these. So I'm taking some underexposed by a couple of stops, and then I'm taking some at normal exposure for the foreground, but that doesn't really help me with the water. Perhaps when it goes behind the cloud, I could put an ND filter on and then get a couple of exposures with that really smooth water and then blend those in somehow. Yeah, it's I didn't think about that. Probably because I'm not used to getting up early in the morning. It's just a gorgeous morning. Actually, these textures here are quite nice, so maybe I should take some photographs of those. They've got some nice side lighting on them, and the sandstone formations are quite well defined. So yeah, why don't I do that instead? All right, change of plan. Well, surprise, surprise, this photograph actually turned out better than I thought it was going to. I ended up taking several different exposures. This first exposure here is for the sunlit area, and then I took some subsequent exposures for different areas in the frame. I do like that smooth water effect in this case, so I took a separate exposure for that, but I didn't like the way that the clouds looked. Because they're moving, they looked kind of blurry and it didn't really look that great, so I just used a different exposure for the clouds. Now, to be honest with you, I'm not all in on using tons of different exposures. It just takes too much time to process these images, but in this case I quite like the final results. And finally, here's the comparison of the sunlit scene and the image that I took the day before. So if you have a preference, be sure to let me know in the comments down below. Well, I might have just saved myself there because the sun just went behind a cloud here. But this is the scene I'm photographing right now, is these textures here in the rocks. And of course we've got the mountains in the lower mainland in the background. So a lot of wildlife activity this morning. There's quite a few sea lions swimming by, and every now and then there'll be a family of river otters who will poke their heads up. They're very curious animals. I think because the sun's gone behind the cloud here, it's extended my shooting period this morning, so it might be a bit of a godsend actually. Right, so I'm going to try and take this shot and then go back to this before the sun comes out from behind those clouds there. Right, everybody, you know, it's mornings like this that I realize how lucky I am to live in this neck of the woods. We have beautiful snowy peaks of the mainland. We have the Strait of Georgia, wildlife, beautiful coastline, more snowy peaks. Couldn't ask for much more. One day I'll do a vlog up at Mount Arrowsmith. I've never actually hiked up there. I'm not sure how great it is for photography. I'm sure that the views are spectacular, but spectacular views don't always make for good shots. But you know, I've never been up there, so I can't really, you know, say whether it's great for photography or not. You'll see that just in front of the snowy peak, there's a little mountain, and that's what it's called, Little Mountain, with the trees on it. I've done a bunch of vlogs there in the past. Most of you know that if you follow my channel on a regular basis, you'll know that. But if you haven't seen any of those, I'll leave a link up to one here. It's kind of a neat area. Right, well, I think that's me done today. I don't think I got anything spectacular this morning. Didn't quite work out the way that I'd wanted it to, which is fine. As I said, you know, areas like this, they're so close to home that if a shot doesn't quite work out, then I can just come back some other time. I think the shots that I did take, yesterday's shots, I think I'm going to prefer. The morning light is nice, but I think it actually looks better when it's a little bit subdued with a few clouds. And there were some clouds, but I didn't quite get the shot that I wanted in time. So I'll come back again and try again. Right, thank you ever so much, everybody, for watching this week's video. If you enjoyed it, please be sure to give me the old thumbs up. And if you haven't subscribed yet, then perhaps consider subscribing. Right. Till next week. Bye.